Hey everybody, it's your boy Will, aka, well, you know the rest. I want to talk to you about two things, and I'm going to try to make it as brief as possible. The first thing I want to talk about is the polls. The polls go with the economic crisis. McCain supporters, I understand you guys are feeling like, hey, this is over, we've lost, there's no hope. You know, politically conventional wisdom, if somebody breaks 50 to 51% this late in the game in battleground states, they usually win that state. I mean, as you've seen, McCain has pulled out of Michigan, and he's pretty much succeeded that territory to the Obama campaign. It doesn't look good. It doesn't look good for McCain, but there is still hope. So don't give up hope. Honestly, I'm hoping that, you know, the sad thing is that in order for Obama to go up in the polls, America has to go down. You know, I guarantee you, I believe honestly that secretly the Obamanites and the Obama worshippers are hoping and praying that this economic rescue plan, or whatever you want to call it, a bailout, doesn't work. Because if people start forgetting and things start ticking back up on the Dow Jones and people's 401ks start recovering, that they won't think about this because people have short memories. They need this country to continue to go down and gas prices to go up in order for Obama to go up and win this election. Obama needs to go to the White House today and kiss George W. Bush on the cheek and say, thank you, sir. Because without the commander in chief, the Democrats would not have a chance. This country is basically conservative, and Obama is a ultra-liberal. You can tell by his associations, which I'll be talking about later in this video, and how they're going to try to paint you as a racist by making those connections. But first, let me deal with something else that I think is very important for you guys to realize. For you independents and you Reagan Democrats and moderate Republicans, I want you to think about the last 2 years. Yes, you might hate Bush, but think about it. The Democrats in 2006 said they were going to come in, if they were to win the House and the Senate, and they were going to end the war. For all you people out there who hate the war, and you believe that is your #1 issue, remember in 2006, Nancy Pelosi and Harry Reid and Barack Obama said they were going to end the war in Iraq if you give us the majority in the House and the Senate. Did you see that happen? No. Remember, the legislative branch, not the executive branch, holds the purse strings. They could have stopped the war yesterday. All they have to do is say, you know what, Mr. Bush, we are not going to fund this war. We believe it is immorally wrong, and we are going to stop it today. So no more funding for your war. They didn't have to say no more funding for the troops. They could just say no more funding for the war. And if they would have did that as soon as they took over, the troops would be home right now. But like I said before in previous videos, Barack Obama is lying when he says he will end the war in 16 months and bring the majority of our troops home. That is a lie. That is a bold-faced lie. He cannot end the war. He will have at least 70 to 75,000 troops still in theater 2, 3, 4 years from now. At least McCain was honest. He never said if it takes 100 years, but he did say it would take longer than my opponents say it will. He was being facetious to a guy in a town hall meeting when he said 100 years. He was saying it could take 10 days, 6 months, 100 years. But we have to stay until the job is done. He didn't say we're going to stay there for 100 years. He was just saying that we have to win this war. We started it, now we got to win it. I was against the war, but now that we're there, I don't want those 4,000 lives to be in vain, and I don't want that money to be spent on nothing. And the whole $79 billion surplus with the oil and everything, okay, the Congress can still do something about that too. They can pass a resolution to tell Maliki, to tell him, hey, we are not going to give you any more money, so you're going to have to replace it with that surplus. So they can cut out $79 billion from the money that they appropriate to the Iraq war and have the Iraqis put that money in there. Barack Obama could have said that, But he hasn't, because he knows the reality. See, he knows that you guys aren't the brightest bulbs on the Christmas tree, that most people don't follow politics. They're too busy worried about their houses and jobs and their kids to really pay that much attention. But that's what you got me for. So remember, when you go to the polls, remember, there was Democratic Congress for 2 years, and they could have did something about something, but they did nothing. They could have done something about this whole economic crisis. They've known. I mean, don't believe the hype that Barney Frank and them just woke up one day and found that we're in this economic crisis. There's videotaped evidence of these Democrats knowing that this was coming, but since Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae padded their pockets in their campaigns, they looked the other way. So don't believe the hype. It's not just Bush's fault, because Bush doesn't control the purse strings. The Democratic Congress has for 2 years, and they've done nothing. So when you go to the polls, you need to punish them, and punish them thoroughly. The second thing I want to talk about is that, you know what, racism and racists are raising their heads once again. Those terms are coming back. Because, see, I believe the new McCain attack line is going to be the judgment and unethical associations of Obama. Because, see, everybody thinks Obama's so squeaky clean when he isn't. And there's 2 things that I want you to think about when you think about Obama's connections to, like, Bill Ayers, Jeremiah Wright, and Tony Rezco, just to name a few. See, it's one of 2 things. They can't have it both ways. I mean, and it's kind of sad for the American people and those who follow Obama, you Obama worshipers. Either you're following somebody who has poor judgment, or you're following somebody who's power hungry. Because, see, it's poor judgment to know that the person that you're having your first campaign rally and dinner over their home is an unrepentant terrorist who helped organize bombings of the Pentagon and the Capitol building. I would not be anywhere near that person. If I was one of his campaign advisors or one of his political advisors, I would tell him never go nowhere near anybody like Bill Ayers. But see, Bill Ayers in Chicago was a big deal on the liberal left. And he needed that guy in order to get ahead. So it's either that Obama didn't care about Ayers and his associations, or he was just so dumb and naive not to realize the connection of, well, it would look bad if I am sitting in the house getting money raised for me by an unrepentant terrorist. So either way, that's pretty bad, America. Number 2, Tony Rezco. Everybody says, well, he had barely an association with... See, Obama barely has an association with anybody. But if you look deep enough and do the research, he's had multiple connections with these people. So like I said, it's either that he lacks common sense and he's an idiot, or he's calculating and power hungry. So either way, he's dangerous and he's risky, and we don't need him in the White House. Either way, because they are reminiscent of George W. Bush. So in closing, people, you're going to hear a lot about being a racist if you make that connection in your mind between Bill Ayers being a terrorist and Obama, because they're going to try to say that the underlying thing is you're trying to say that Obama's a terrorist, i.e. a Muslim terrorist, and all that garbage. You're going to hear about how you're a racist if you make the connection between Tony Rezco, because they're going to say Willie Horton and, you know, all blacks are criminals and all that kind of garbage. So Obama is going to try to paint McCain as, well, I might have had bad associations, but he had them bad too. Remember the Keating Five? You're going to hear a lot about the Keating Five. But if you look up the Keating Five, you will understand that John McCain was implemented but never had anything truly to do anything unethical or criminal in that investigation. Once that investigation was done, he was found to be not guilty of anything. And then he went on after that debacle to do something about it. I didn't hear Obama doing anything about the loopholes in the housing situation when he was in the state legislature that allowed him to get that house for practically free. I didn't see Obama doing anything about trying to stop terrorism in the state Illinois Senate from his association with Bill Ayers, and he came to realize that, what am I thinking, what am I doing having fundraisers with somebody or sitting on a board with somebody who would do something so heinous. I don't see that happening. At least McCain was repentant about Martin Luther King Day and not voting for it. He was repentant about his situation with the Keating Five. He was repentant about cheating on his wife. But Obama is so perfect, he doesn't repent about anything. When he was asked to Saddleback about his greatest failing, he couldn't name anything. Because Obama's just so perfect, people. But we want to make sure that his perfect ass don't get in the White House. Okay?